The greatest trick the system ever played on you was convincing you that wealth is difficult. They want you to believe it is calculus, complex, mystical, and reserved for a select priesthood of geniuses, the lucky, or the divinely chosen. They want you to look at the towering glass skyscrapers and the billions of dollars moving through digital ledgers and feel a sense of insignificance. They want you to feel that you are lacking some secret ingredient, some hidden intellectual code that only the elite possess. It is a lie. Wealth is not calculus. It is arithmetic. It is brutally, offensively simple. The reason you are not rich is not because you lack intelligence. It is not because the economy is broken or because you weren't born into the right lineage. You are poor because you are operating under a moral code that was specifically designed by the powerful to keep you exactly where you are. You are playing a friendly game of checkers while the wealthy are playing total war. Niccolo Machiavelli, the man who wrote the definitive instruction manual for power, understood this 500 years ago. He looked at the world with eyes unclouded by sentiment and saw a simple, devastating truth. The universe does not reward the _zero_, it rewards the effective. You are struggling because you are trying to be a good employee, a good saver, and a good citizen. You are waiting for the world to hand you a gold star for your suffering, as if pain were a currency that could be exchanged for success. But the world does not care about your suffering. It respects only one thing: leverage. I am going to show you the operating system of the wealthy. It is not polite, it is not fair, but it works with the cold precision of a guillotine. If you are easily offended, click away now. Go back to the comfort of the lie. Go back to the safety of the herd. But if you want to know why the money always seems to flow away from you and toward them, stay. We are going to dismantle the illusion. By the end of this analysis, you will possess the psychological keys to unlock the resources that control the planet. You will understand how to position yourself so that money flows to you as a natural consequence of your existence, not as a reward for your exhaustion. But to get there, you must be willing to murder the version of yourself that seeks approval. Machiavelli said, quote 1, "The system has deceived you. Today, we turn the tables." Law 1, the economy of pain. The first pillar of your poverty is the obsession with quote 2. You have been told to follow your passion, to do what you love, and the money will follow. This is consumers' propaganda designed to keep you performing tasks that feel good but produce little value. Passion is a hobby. Passion is for the weekends. If you want wealth, you must follow the pain. Machiavelli knew that a prince does not secure power by doing what he loves. He secures power by solving the chaos that terrifies his subjects. Money is nothing more than a social certificate of a solved problem. The bigger the problem, the bigger the check. The more painful the problem, the more desperate the buyer. Look at your current life. You are likely paid for your time. You clock in, you perform a task, and you clock out. This is the behavior of a peasant in the Machiavellian court. You are trading your finite life force for a fixed rate, and it is a losing trade every single time. The wealthy do not trade time. They trade solutions to pain. Consider the market reality. Why does a heart surgeon make 1,000 times more than a cleaner? It isn't because the surgeon works harder. It is because the pain of a dirty floor is a mere annoyance, while the pain of a stopped heart is death. If you are broke, it is because the problems you solve are too small, too easy, or too common. You are solving problems that anyone can solve. Therefore, you are replaceable. And if you are replaceable, you have zero leverage. Machiavelli advised, make yourself necessary to someone. Do not make them love you. Make them need you. Love is fickle. It changes with the weather. Need is binding. It survives the storm. If your employer loves you, they can still fire you when the budget gets tight. But if they need you because you hold the keys to the clients, the proprietary code, or the revenue stream, they cannot touch you. In fact, they must pay you whatever you ask to keep the pain from returning. Identify where people are bleeding, financially, emotionally, or physically. Stand there. Do not ask for money. Charge for the relief. Getting rich becomes simple when you realize you are not selling a product. You are selling the removal of suffering. Law 2, the fox and the trap. Most of you were raised on what I call the donkey doctrine. Work hard, keep your head down, carry the load, and eventually the farmer will reward you with an extra scoop of grain. Machiavelli laughs at this. He wrote, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves." The donkey works hard until it dies in the field. The fox observes the system, identifies the mechanism of the trap, and finds the shortcut. The trap you are currently in is the belief that effort equals wealth. It does not. If effort equaled wealth, the construction worker sweating in the sun for 12 hours would be a billionaire, and the hedge fund manager moving capital on a laptop would be in the breadline. Reality shows us the opposite. The market does not pay for effort, it pays for impact. The donkey uses brute force, the fox uses leverage. Leverage is the art of getting massive output for every unit of input. It is the secret mechanism of the elite. There are 3 forms of Machiavellian leverage you must master. First, labor leverage. This is having other people work for you. The donkey carries the stone, the fox hires 10 donkeys and takes a percentage of every stone moved. Second, capital leverage. This is making money work for you. The donkey saves coins in a jar where inflation eats them. The fox borrows the donkey's savings from the bank to buy the very farm the donkey works on. Third, and most vital in the modern age, is digital leverage, code, and media. This analysis I'm delivering to you is being written once, but it can be consumed by millions. The work is done once, but the value and the payment are perpetual. If you are working a job where you must be physically present to get paid, you are in a trap. You have zero leverage. Wealth becomes simple when you stop asking, "How can I work harder?" and start asking, "How can I detach my income from my presence?" You need to build a machine. A business is a machine. An investment portfolio is a machine. A piece of software is a machine. The wealthy spend their early years building the machine so they can spend their later years merely oiling it. The poor spend their entire lives being the machine. Which one are you? Law 3. Perception is reality. Here's a brutal truth that will likely wound your ego. You are not paid what you are worth. You are paid what people perceive you are worth. Machiavelli understood this perfectly when he wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." In the game of wealth, optics are not a vanity metric. They are a utility metric. If you look cheap, you will be beaten down on price. If you look desperate, you will be exploited. If you look uncertain, people will refuse to invest in you. Consider 2 consultants. Consultant A is a technical genius, but he shows up in a wrinkled shirt, speaks timidly, and replies to emails instantly because he is starving for work. Consultant B is average in skill, but he has an impeccable digital presence, speaks with slow authority, is difficult to reach, and charges 10 times more. Consultant B wins the contract every time. Why? Because the human brain uses price and availability as a signal for quality. The client assumes that expensive equals good and that hard to access equals in demand. You are likely underpricing yourself because you are judging your value based on your internal struggle. You know how hard you worked, or perhaps how easy the task feels to you now, so you charge based on effort. Stop. Price is a signal. When you raise your prices, you don't just make more money, you attract a better class of client. You signal to the market that you are a premium asset. Machiavelli advised princes to maintain an aura of majesty, to never let the public see them stumble or beg. Never look like you need the deal. The strongest negotiation position is being able to walk away and mean it. Humans are hierarchical animals. We are wired to follow high-status individuals. If you project status through your discipline, your articulation, and your boundaries, people will instinctively want to give you their resources. They want to align with power. If you project weakness, they will instinctively want to take from you. Law 4. The ruthlessness of removal. You likely believe that you need more to get rich, more ideas, more contacts, more hours in the day. Machiavelli would tell you that you need less. A prince cannot rule if his court is filled with parasites, jesters, and traitors. He must perform a purge. Your life is cluttered with poverty-inducing variables. First, look at your circle. You are the victim of the tolerance you permit. If you tolerate friends who complain about the unfair economy, you will absorb their victimhood via osmosis. If you tolerate a partner who craves safety over freedom, they will act as an anchor, dragging you down to the seabed of mediocrity. Machiavelli was ruthless about cutting off those who did not serve the stability of the state. You must be ruthless about cutting off those who do not serve the stability of your future. This is not about being mean, it is about quarantine. Poverty of the mind is a virus. Second, remove the noise. You consume hours of content that makes you angry, envious, or distracted. This is mental poison. The wealthy consume information that gives them an edge. The poor consume information that gives them an escape. Every time you scroll, you are the product. Your attention is the resource being mined to make someone else a billionaire. Machiavelli would look at a man scrolling through mindless videos for 3 hours and see a slave who has learned to love his chains. Reclaim your attention. It is the raw material of your wealth. If you cannot focus for 4 hours on a single task, building your business, sharpening a high-income skill, or analyzing a market, you will never be rich. Focus is the new IQ. In a world of dopamine addicts, the man who can sit in a room and work on one thing until it is finished is a god. Getting rich is simple. Remove everything that isn't building the asset. If it doesn't pay rent in your mind or your bank account, evict it. Law 5. The immoral shift. This is where we leave the comfortable, socially acceptable advice behind. You have been taught that money is the root of all evil, that the rich are greedy, and that there is a quiet nobility in being broke. Machiavelli taught that a prince must learn how not to be good. This does not mean being evil, it means being effective. The world is not a Disney movie. It is a brutal competition for limited resources. If you feel guilty about taking money, you will instinctively repel it. You must shift your relationship with the transaction. You are not taking money, you are exchanging value. But here's the darker truth. The market does not care about your intentions. It cares about your results. You must be willing to be aggressive. If you open a business, you are attempting to take market share from someone else. You are trying to put food on your table, which might mean taking it off theirs. This is the nature of the game. If you are too nice to close the sale, someone else will. If you are too polite to negotiate for what you are worth, the company will happily keep the difference. Your niceness is essentially a donation of your wealth to people who do not care about your survival. Machiavelli argued that it is better to be feared than loved. In business, it is better to be respected for your competence and your boundaries than to be liked for your compliance. Stop trying to be the nice guy. The nice guy finishes last because he puts everyone else's needs before his mission. The wealthy put the mission first. They are indifferent to the opinions of those who do not matter. They handle conflict. They fire the incompetent. And they say no without apologizing. Develop a thicker skin. Wear the judgment of the broke as a badge of honor. Law 6. The fortress of retention. Machiavelli spent as much time writing about keeping power as he did about getting it. He knew that men are quick to change their nature when their interests shift. The world wants to take your money back the moment you earn it. The government wants it in taxes. Corporations want it in consumerism. Inflation wants it in devaluation. If you make $1 million and spend $1 million, you are not rich. You are just a highly paid conduit. You are a pipe that the money flowed through. Wealth is what stays in the reservoir. The entire system is engineered to turn you into a consumer. Every algorithm is designed to make you part with your capital. Treat yourself, they say. Upgrade your lifestyle. This is propaganda. The wealthy do not upgrade their lifestyle until the asset pays for it. Here is the Machiavellian rule of the fortress. You never buy luxuries with your labor. You buy luxuries with the interest from your assets. If you work to buy a car, you are a slave to that car because you must keep working to maintain it. But if you use your labor to buy a rental property or a business, and that asset pays for the car, you are free. The asset is the slave. Practice stealth wealth. Real power is silent. The loudest man in the room is usually the one with the most debt, flashing his feathers to hide the fact that he cannot fly. The eagle soars silently. When you start making money, shut your mouth. Do not buy the flashy watch to impress people you don't even like. Buy the freedom to wake up at noon on a Tuesday. That is the ultimate flex. If you are not paranoid about protecting what you have built, you will lose it. When the money is flowing, that is when you must dig the moat. Law 7. The weaponization of time. Let us return to the concept of leverage, but applied to the span of your life. You are dying. Every second that ticks by is a second you will never recover. The poor sell their time, the rich buy it. This is the fundamental divide of the human experience. When you clean your own house to save $20, you are telling the universe that your life is worth $20 an hour. When you wait in line for an hour to save $5, you are valuing your existence at pennies. Machiavelli knew that a ruler cannot do everything himself. He must delegate or be destroyed by the trivial. You must become obsessed with your _quote_24_. If you want to be a millionaire, your time must eventually be worth $500 an hour. If you are doing a task that can be hired out for $20, you are losing $480 every single hour. You are burning your wealth by doing busy work. Getting rich is simple. You stop doing low-value activities. You outsource, you automate, or you eliminate. You might say, quote 25 Machiavelli would answer, quote 26. You hire the help so you have the time to build the skills and the assets that pay the high rate. Be arrogant with your time. Guard it like a dragon guards gold. Do not let people, quote 27. Do not go to meetings that could be emails. Do not attend social events out of a sense of obligation. The more scarce your time is, the more valuable it becomes. When you detach your income from your time, you achieve the holy grail, autonomy. Law 8. The unfair advantage. The world tells you to play fair. Machiavelli tells you to win. In finance, this is known as asymmetry. You want to find _quote_28_, where the downside is limited, but the upside is infinite. Working a job has capped upside. You will never make 1,000 times your salary next month. But the downside is total. You can be fired tomorrow. That is quote 29. Starting a business, creating a digital asset, or investing in a promising but risky venture has a limited downside. You lose some time or money, but an infinite upside. It could change your bloodline forever. You need to hunt for unfair advantages. What do you know that others don't? Who do you know that others don't? What are you willing to do that others are too lazy or too scared to attempt? Do not try to be well-rounded. Well-rounded people make excellent employees. Spiky people make history. Find your spike and sharpen it until it is lethal. If you are good at sales, sell until you own the industry. If you are good at code, write the software that automates a sector. Specialization is how you monopolize value. Machiavelli advised focusing all your force on the enemy's weakest point. Find the weak point in the market, the thing everyone is doing badly or ignoring, and attack it with your unfair advantage. Do not compete. Dominate. Law 9. The end of hope. This is the final and most brutal law. Hope is a strategy for fools. I hope I get a raise. I hope the economy improves. I hope I get lucky. Machiavelli despised those who relied on fortuna, luck. He admired virtù, boldness, and ability. He famously wrote that fortune is like a woman who must be beaten and forced into submission. Strip away the archaic language and look at the metaphysical truth. You cannot wait for luck to find you. You must drag it into existence. You must kill the part of you that is waiting to be saved. No one is coming. There is no government bailout for your specific life. There is no rich uncle. There is no winning lottery ticket. There's only you and the cold, hard reality of the market. This realization terrifies the weak, but it liberates the strong. If it is up to you, then you have total control. Stop hoping. Start planning. A plan is not a dream. A plan is a cold sequence of actions. 1. Acquire a high-value skill. 2. Apply that skill to solve a painful, expensive problem. 3. Charge for it. 4. Use the money to buy assets. 5. Repeat until you are free. It is boring. It is repetitive. It is simple. The only variable is your discipline. Are you willing to do the boring work when the dopamine wears off? Are you willing to study while others are partying? Are you willing to risk looking stupid in the pursuit of being wealthy? If the answer is yes, wealth is no longer a possibility. It is a mathematical certainty. The architect's choice. Why is getting rich simpler than you think? because you have been overcomplicating it with emotion. You have injected fear, guilt, pride, and the need for approval into a simple equation of value exchange. Remove the emotion. Look at the board. The rules are right there. Identify the pain. Provide the solution. Leverage the system. Protect the capital. Buy your time back. The difficult part is not the how. The difficult part is the who. Who must you become to execute this? You must become the outlier. You must become the person who is comfortable in the cold. The person who does not need the herd's permission to exist. The person who sees the world not as it should be, but as it actually is. Machiavelli didn't write The Prince to be popular. He wrote it to tell the truth. And the truth is that you have the power to change your reality, but only if you drop the victim script. You are the architect. The blueprints are in your hands. But be warned, once you start this path, you cannot go back. Once you see the strings, you can no longer be a puppet. You will find it hard to relate to your old friends. You will find it hard to tolerate mediocrity. Wealth isolates before it liberates. Are you ready for that silence? Most people aren't. They would rather be poor and understood than rich and alone. But you are still watching, which means you suspect deep down that you were built for the storm. If this opened your eyes, understand that this is only the surface. There are aspects of dark psychology and wealth capture that simply cannot be discussed in a public forum without being suppressed by the algorithm. The system suppresses the most powerful information to maintain the status quo. Those deep dives exist behind the join button. If you are not like the others, if you want what is hidden from the masses, step into the architect level. You will unlock exclusive, uncensored analysis that dives into the deepest parts of the human psyche and power dynamics. Most won't, and that is exactly why they will stay exactly where they are. The question is, what will you do? The board is set, the rules are clear, the move is yours.